Hi, my name is Layal Hussain. I'm a current final year PhD student in the School of Psychology. I was also an hourly paid lecturer who taught as well in undergraduate courses as well as master's seminars in the School of Psychology. I decided to apply for fellowship during the New to Teaching PGR course. In the final class, it was introduced to us, the Higher Education Academy Fellowship, and we were sort of encouraged to look into it. And once I did, I realized I actually had quite a lot of relevant experience, and particularly as I was reaching towards the end of my PhD, I thought it would be good for my employability and would help me get recognized in the sense of my teaching experience throughout my PhD. So during the PGR New to Teaching class, part of that was going onto the Higher Education Academy website, and there's a fellowship category tool. It's kind of a very quick quiz. It took us about 15 minutes, and that really helped me identify which category would work. But I think particularly also because I'm an early career researcher with at least some teaching responsibilities, I thought it would make more sense to start with associate fellowship and then move on to the next stage within a year or so once I start my career after my PhD. Initially, I wanted to submit in April, and I was in early March, but because I was in quite a lot of stress with my annual review, I sort of reached out to the team who said, actually, you could also apply in July. So it took me about 3 months, give or take, but that's keeping in mind I was working more on weekends and at night because I'm writing up and I was quite busy with my PhD. But I would say it's really good that you have so many panel dates, so you can be quite flexible and realistic in how much time you have to submit. And I was still able to use the experience I had across the past 2 years in that application. So around 3 months was my experience. I applied through a written application, for the associate fellowship. Yeah, I would say at first it can be tricky. It looks like it's quite a lot, but actually the main thing was to read some examples on the website. For me, I found it really easy to first familiarize myself with that through the examples. Attending that New to Teaching course and class was also incredibly helpful because we could ask any initial questions on that. It did take me some practice, but I think the main thing was thinking about what I did, how I did it, and why I did it. I made sure to do some notes and mind mapping sort of on that, and then it took me a few tries, but you do kind of are able to build a narrative based on what you did and reflect on your teaching beliefs through that. And it always helped to sort of ask questions, ask my peers, and the main thing was looking at examples as well, for me, was helpful. So my 3 tips to apply for fellowship. The first one I'd say would be to definitely go for it. Be confident in your experience. I think I was hesitant at first, but actually you'd be surprised, you probably do a lot more than you realize. So don't be intimidated by the application. And I was able to sort of pass my application quite easily and quickly. The second tip I would say is to definitely, if you can or while you're teaching, keep some notes about your experience because it is a very reflective application. So I found it incredibly helpful to go back to any kind of notes or things I had written down. And the third tip I would say is to definitely be open to feedback and ask questions, ask for help. For me, I know like I had to go through multiple drafts and asking my colleagues as well for any feedback and to read over something was incredibly helpful. I think personally speaking from my experience, it has been very beneficial towards my practice. As I mentioned, I think it's a very reflective journey. So I see myself now, first of all, it's definitely developed my confidence. So now that I've been teaching, I think I know I've been recognized in terms of my experience, but more importantly, it's allowed me to sort of reflect on my own beliefs, what I've done and what I'd also like to work on. And as I mentioned before, it's really good for employability prospects. I think I'm much more enthusiastic about teaching, and I know I want to go into it more moving forward. I don't think necessarily the main tip I'd say is to leave more time. Even though I had 3 months, I maybe underestimated how long references would take. Because it was around June time, there were some staff that were going on leave or weren't replying to me quickly enough. So always try and have a backup plan or backup references and leave, some contingency time to apply and not be too stressed as you're reaching the deadline. Yeah, I would say my main sort of point of information that was very helpful was the Higher Education Academy website. They have a lot of great documents for each fellowship, for each stage. So for me, Associate Fellowship, I found it very useful to keep going to that handbook. They also had some examples on there, and even when I searched online, there were a lot of good examples of successful applications. Melissa was also incredibly helpful in giving me sort of that feedback and any examples that have passed. I think the main thing was just sort of familiarize yourself with that and not be afraid to reach out for help or ask questions.